Hey traders, AC Trader here. What an absolutely crazy day. We had two stocks, one up about 450% and the other one up 70%. All right, going over the first stock that we were looking at is actually XHLD. The reason we were looking at this was because it was a continuation trade from last week. Looking at the 1-day chart here, we can map out some key resistance points from history. Looking at the 188 resistance point from March 21st, as well as the other resistance point that we can mark out at 209. Now, after that point, we have a huge gap all the way up to 703. So this stock was looking wonderful this morning. Had lots of room to move, and it was a continuation setup from last week already. So this is where my eyes were at 7 in the morning. So looking at the pre-market, we did notice that there was a 176 high. So once we were able to break that at 7 in the morning, we knew that we were probably going to hit that 188 mark. Once we were able to pull through and hit that 209 mark, is where I kind of got even a little bit more hesitant here. We looked to the left, there's a bunch of topping tails. The issues with these topping tails tells me that selling pressure is coming in and I better take profit. Now, after the attempt at 209, we did pull back, but we were able to actually go up and hold that level. Now, the problem is after we held that level, we're not just shooting right up to that $7 mark or even really accelerating any faster. The reason being is all these topping tails and how thickly traded this stock became. So with all these topping tails, anytime we get a new high, it immediately shoots down. And then, we go down, test the lower resistance. We were good, come back up, more topping tails. And that was just kind of the trend of this stock. There wasn't really any clean entries. Anytime you'd hit the new high, it'd end up popping up and dropping. So it's tough to say what's a good entry point and what's not, because even when we do make those new highs, we still have topping tails to the left. And they're big topping tails, so we can't really trust it. It was kind of a difficult point of entry. However, you could have done it, but not the cleanest trades. You had to be real tight with your stops, and you had to make sure that you're in and out quick. And it really weren't that big of winners. 10, 20 cents here and there is great, but not a parabolic move that I'm looking for. All right, so about 9 o'clock, we did hit the peak. The reason was because attention started to shift. The reason it shifted was MLGO. MLGO was the stock that ended up going up now 464% whenever it decides to load. Going up 464%. Now, this is a stock that I typically do not like trading. The reason I don't like trading this is because of the history of this stock. This stock loves to jump and then immediately drop. Jump and immediately drop. I'm not a fan of this stock. However, I'm going to trade what the market gives me. So looking at the 1 minute chart, we'll go back and see what we have. So stock ends up breaking over the high of, let's correct this, 385, rockets right through it, and it actually spikes all the way up to 487. It makes a whole dollar move in about 2 minutes. So insane. Tough to get. If you were watching and it broke, perfect. If you weren't watching, a stock that I really wouldn't be touching, strictly because of the history of what's been going on, as well as this topping tail right here. So immediately it goes 487 and drops right back down, just in regular old fashion of MLGO. Now, crazy thing is, it actually started to run away. Don't know why it ran away. We had just news from last week resurface. Nothing crazy new, but whatever, we'll take it. But the problem we had initially with this is after this big drop, can we trust it? This big drop, we had so many topping tails all the way up to this 487 mark. Once we got past the 487 mark, where I was hoping that it would open up a little more, especially with the increased volume we're getting. But I think it might have been a little too much volume. We almost have 3 million shares in just this 1 minute candle. I think it just became way too thickly traded. And once we broke apart, the kind of the same trend that we stuck with XHLD is now happening with MLGO. Is anytime we get a pop, it drops. So anytime we get a curl here, it drops back down. Get another curl, it drops back down. However, it did start to form a nice ascending resistance line. Support line. So once we were able to, see that support line, we did take a couple trades off the support line. And then even when it broke through, we were able to get a couple trades. But the problem is, still more topping tails. Not the end of the world, but really our only clean trades were right here. After that, this one got even more interesting. MACD closed, dropped down, and MACD started going right back open. And at that point, we started gaining even more momentum. A little bit stronger signs, full candles, no topping tails. However, we did get a little extended here. It was a nice move all the way from $7 to about $10, about $9.50. It's crazy. Great move. So nice clean pullbacks, buy, drop, buy. Nice clean moves. Absolutely picture perfect there. From that, not so much. From there, it started becoming a little bit more choppy again, following that same trend. So today was a choppier day. However, if you played your card right and were patient, you definitely were able to find some entries, especially over the last 2 hours or so, because MLG is still grinding higher, and even as we speak, it's still maybe taking off. All right, guys. That's the recap for today. MLGO and XHLD, two big winners today, up over 500%. I want